Right. Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of XN Interviews. I'm your host, XN. Joining me as always is JX. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing very well. Glad to be here. Glad to have our guest on.
Yeah, it's been a while since our second guest has been on the show. We'll go ahead and introduce the MCOC and me host Zac Rossi. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm not doing them doing all right actually. Just hanging out here in San Antonio. Just got here this afternoon.
Very nice, very nice. You're on tour, right?
Yeah, I'm out here with Ramstein.
Cool, cool. It's awesome. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah. We kind of got your origin story back a couple years ago, and you've been on tour and not doing too much with the MCOC and Me podcast. So I figured we'd catch up a little bit, if that's cool
yeah,
with you.
absolutely.
All right. Um, so you kind of took a break whenever I think it was around the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, I took a break from the show. I believe the episode in which I was stating my break was recorded like probably the second to last week in April.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So we've had strikers come back since then.
right.
Um, did you feel any different way about the strikers, whether or not they were doing well or the inputs were working?
I thought they were a really cool feature just because, especially in a side quest. Like I always think, I think it was the top of the year when they were doing it in that the Sauron and Toad a monthly event thing. And I really liked that just because it just kind of brought a different flavor of of playstyle, and it kind of reminded me of if you ever played like Marvel versus Capcom. It was like when you could call in like a guest character to come in and like just have them either like trap the opponent or just do some damage kind of thing. It was kind of like that, so that's what I really enjoyed about it.
Tag
Absolutely.
team aspect.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which they were
Heck
definitely
yeah.
inspired by. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So what else has happened since then? We've had a few champions come into the contest. We've had Quicksilver and Galen come in last
Yep.
month. Did you vote for Quicksilver?
I did. Yes.
Okay. All
But I
right.
was but I was surprised that he was when they revealed him that he was a science rather than a mutant champion. But
Oh man, don't get me started. Me too,
I
man.
didn't really get that whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. Just the MCU, man. Oh man.
Yeah, it was just kind of like when I saw that happen, I'm like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like great animations, this, and that. I'm like, wait a minute, he's a science type of guy. He's a mutant. This is weird.
I said that when they announced him in the vote, and they didn't announce his class. I was like, I bet he's gonna be science. Marvel kind of, they did this thing with him, and I was like, they're gonna do it, and yeah, they did. And oh man, I
But
wish he was mutant.
if you really want to get down and dirty with it, if you're looking at it from the MCU perspective, he would be a mystic per the Age of Ultron movie. Just saying.
Well, it is experimentation through the Infinity Stones, so I think that's kind of why it's science. But
Oh,
the comics is that that's in a way, and Scarlet Witch is just mystic because it awakened her thing, which
right.
maybe in her movie apparently that they'll explain even more.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll see what happens with that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hopefully. I mean, would you guys see? Which Pietro do you guys see coming back? The shot one or the X-Men one?
The deceased one. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's gonna they're gonna just bring him off from another multiverse timeline where he didn't get shot and be like, oh hey, copy and paste.
Yeah, I really wonder too. Is like they could kind of just the way that if they're gonna do if the way they're gonna do mutants. I really wonder if they're gonna clash another universe of mutants, and that's how they're gonna do it. Because if it would be so weird for them to do mutants in a way that's like, oh, now X-Genes are showing up out of nowhere, and Professor X is now becoming a mutant, or maybe he has been protecting everyone's X-Gene as a secret
Right.
from the world. It'd be really weird. But it is the more comic accurate they can get. I want that.
Yeah, I do like your point though. I think if they were to do it like kind of a Professor X is kind of shielding, the mutant population from the world kind of thing. I feel like that would make a whole lot of sense only because I'm thinking about this right now, actually, like in Civil War when Vision is talking about, like, since the more number of enhanced people have shown up, the inverse has happened as well. There's been, like, challenges of people coming after us. What if they were to kind of, write something that would play off of that, where it's like, hey, look, there's been this other population of people, but they've kind of just been sort of, in hiding. They're just waiting for their time where they feel like it's okay to come out and sort of, make their presence known. So I think that'd be kind of a cool little thing.
Yeah, and it's a lot of parallels too with Wakanda.
Right.
Now the Atlanteans with the Wakanda Forever as well, and even now in I guess no, not in humans because obviously Kamala Khan is not in humans. She's a mutant, so that's
which yeah, that kind of. I mean, like, I didn't watch any of that show, but when I saw that was kind of a story sort of point, I was kind of saying to myself that no, that's not not true. She breathed into the Terrigen mist, and that's how it happened. So why don't we just stick with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just finished the Avengers game where she's like the main character, and it's so well done. Like
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just the story of the game, and I played it on stream, and I was loving it. Like there's a lot of parallels to the X-Men, obviously with the prejudice against them, and the Inhumans really has that encapsulation of the same thing, which is good. And it's such a good story, and same with their powers. Like I so much prefer if they stayed more comic accurate. But it was both stories were fine. I both enjoyed them.
Oh, interesting. I see. Like I saw gameplay footage of that game, but I never got my hands on it.
Yeah. No, the story's good. Gameplay, it's up to your opinion, really.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard, because it was kind of a really good idea on paper, but it didn't really. But like you just said, it's up to the player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The only point I was trying to make was with that whole conversation, the Aaron Taylor Johnson thing.
Yeah.
Was they could do it with John Krasinski, right?
Yeah,
They could tear him to shreds and bring him back in the Fantastic Four for our universe. Why can't they do that for our Quicksilver?
Right. Exactly.
But,
just saying, they can do it.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I want that.
Okay, back to MCU. So who have you been trying to acquire lately? Zac?
Well, it wasn't so much of an acquisition kind of thing. If I actually, I'll kind of rewind sort of what happened. So, because you mentioned me taking a break from the show, so that was kind of like a culmination of, I beat all of Act 7. I was getting ready for this world tour that I was going on. I just kind of wanted to have like a little break sort of thing. You know what I mean? And just kind of, not be as focused on the game. Because like when I made the podcast, when I made all that stuff happen, it was a quarantine project because I had no idea where my life was going to go, if my career was ever going to pick itself up, because it was in the shitter, and it was a very trying time. But, having a creative outlet like that show definitely helped out. And what was kind of funny was, as I'm playing it, I was kind of getting better, and I was kind of learning a little bit more about certain things. This, and that. Well, I have a conspiracy theory that the game, once you kind of put it out there that you are kind of, you don't want to do it anymore, or things are kind of not really going that well for you, the game finds a way to pull you back in. So here's what happened. In May, when they were doing the Doctor Strange multiverse thing, and you had that piggy bank that you could get, where if you did a certain amount of fights for like $5, if you bought it, you would get crystals and one. I think you guys know what I'm talking about with it. So do a couple things, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'll just buy one piggy bank, whatever, this and that. Well, get the piggy bank, open the thing up. I got 2 6-star Nexus crystals. And I was like, well, this is kind of nice. Let me open these things up. The first one, the first thing they showed me was a 6-star Nick Fury. And I'm like, I don't care about anybody else. That's who I want. And I had a 6-star generic gem and a 3 to 4-star skill rank up gem. So I'm like, you know what? Just going to put him right to rank 4. And then the second gem was I think I pulled like Thor Ragnarok out of that one. But either way, I was kind of like, all right, let me just at least kind of see what's going on with what's happening each month and this and that. So it was cool to kind of like, get back into the game on my own terms. And like, I was so busy doing the thing, but I would just kind of like, check in here and there and get to eventually kind of working my way to get to Paragon, which I finally got to at the end of the Eternity of Pain rewards that we got a few weeks ago. So that was kind of big, like my big thing. I wasn't really like going for champ acquisition. Like if I got some cool champions along the way of becoming Paragon, that was awesome. And but ultimately, all I wanted to get was the Paragon title.
Nice, congrats, man.
Yeah, thanks. It was actually kind of, I thought it was gonna be kind of a pain in the ass to get because on the very last episode that I made before I kind of took my hiatus, I was, if you go back and listen to it, I was kind of looking at it like, man, this is gonna be like a giant pay to play kind of thing. This is just I don't want to get involved in it. Da, 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 da. But luckily, the game kind of made other avenues of obtaining that title a lot easier via the loyalty store, Eternity of Pain, even just doing the Cavalier monthly EQ thing, where if you explored the whole thing, you got some resources to help yourself out. So that was just kind of cool, and I'm glad that they actually just went that way to make things a lot easier for players to progress.
Yeah, kind of like the choose your character node at the end of Act 6 now.
Yeah.
Which
is hilarious because Act 6 now, for those of you new players, okay, Act 6 is a total breeze, especially the champion fight. It is like comedy. You can bring anybody into that fight and you're totally fine. Whereas back in like 2019, I was ripping my freaking head off trying to beat that guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'll let you go.
I was gonna say I did it like before all of the nerfs. I don't think he got nerfed in the newest like update where they did the whole the champion selection at the end of the path.
Right
before all that, but he seemed okay. He wasn't that bad.
Maybe my skills were not as good back then. I don't know. I just remember burning through a ton of units.
I definitely did though.
Dude.
Yeah, I definitely
it was bad. Between him and Mordo, I was just like, oh, Act 6 blows.
Oh
yeah. Mordo's not fun.
No, not at all.
Go ahead, Jay.
I was gonna say the champion in this month's event quest is salty about his Act 6 defeat. He's like, I'm ready for a rematch. Come on.
Okay. You caught up on some of the story then?
Yes, I read it today and made my video today on it. It was really fun.
Okay. Very nice.
Actually, speaking of the champion, apparently that guy's been getting a lot of steam in terms of like boss fights and a really good option for this week's Eternity of Pain. If you've seen anything from, I think it's Suida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen a few things with the champion lately.
Yeah, it's really kind of it's very interesting seeing like a champion that we all kind of like, I don't want to say forgot about, but obviously when you looked at like is it you look at Aegon versus the champion, everybody wants Aegon, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the champion can kind of like do some things, and he's got like a nice little synergy with Tatiana now. Like that's some cool stuff.
Yeah. So what do you think about Tatiana and Infamous Iron?
Tatiana.
Titania.
Wait, how do you say it?
Tatiana is the actor for She-Hulk.
Oh, okay. How do you? Okay, so how do you say the character?
Titania.
Yeah, Titania. Hey, I said it wrong too. I was like Titania like originally, so
I put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. I actually, you know what? I really like this new champion. I haven't had really much of a playthrough with Infamous Doctor Doom, but in the Cavalier EQ boss fight, he was pretty. He was actually a very kind of, I would say, mild-mannered boss fight, because if you have Hercules, it was kind of like game over sort of thing. But I thought Tatiana was really cool. Wait, I said it again. Titania.
Yeah, there you go.
There it is. She brings a lot to the table, and also like her synergies are really, really cool too. So it's cool to see a champion like that who, can not only just be good on her own, but can make a lot of other champions just a little bit better. Especially like if you use her with She-Hulk and then the Mr. Fantastic synergy. I mean, that's just like a very good combination right there.
Absolutely, and she even has a mystery synergy with I think maybe Zemo kind of
Oh,
thing.
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll be excited to see. I'll be excited to see who that synergy is.
Yeah, I think it's Zemo. It just makes sense the most because for sure.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you guys this because we got that new Ant-Man buff this month. What did you guys think of that?
I haven't tested him too much, but fighting him is such a breeze now. Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
I love it.
he definitely went from being very annoying on defense to being just kind of a pushover now.
Yeah, which I'm glad because I there were so many Ant-Man fights. I'm like, please, can this fight be over? I'm so tired.
Yeah, because every so often it's just glancing, glancing,
hmm
glancing. You're like, all right, come on.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's annoying. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think the buff was. I mean, I've had like a few test drives with it, but what I was really upset about was I found out about the Ant Man and the Captain America Falcon synergy way too late, and I was like, oh, that's a cool little thing. I should have done that way before, but also I didn't get a Captain America Falcon until like last month, so I missed out on that.
yeah. John said something about that on the podcast a couple of weeks ago when we had him on.
Oh yeah, it's just I don't know. Like I kind of sort of addressed it in one of my recent episodes was I don't mind a buff that is taking a champion that's kind of a lower tier and trying to make them get higher up in the rankings, but I don't like it when you mess with synergies that are important.
Yeah. Do you think that synergy was vital to his kit?
I think it was, you know what I mean, especially because somebody kind of said he is for longer fights it really counts, and I just think that like especially when you can bring a unique questing combination of champions like that into the mix. I think it just opens the door for a lot more options because everybody wants to bring Ghost, Wasp, and Ant Man. Well, what if you bring in like those three plus, you know, uh, the Captain America version of Falcon? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, Ant Man becomes like another really good viable option in that group. I just think that's just kind of a cool thing to do, especially when you're trying to mix and match and really make use of like a 5 champion team, especially in higher difficulty quests.
Yeah. Okay. Um. So, do you think that the Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch synergy was gonna be something that was too good to be true? I guess.
Well, that's the way it goes. Whenever something is too good to be true, you better enjoy that real quick because all of a sudden it just goes bye bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
I mean, it's also kind of funny too. Like look, like for example, speaking of Scarlet Witch, if you look back, oh man, I want to say maybe around like 2014, 2015, before like a lot of these updates started happening. Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, and Thor OG were like the real big heavy hitters. And Scarlet Witch can kind of like she still has some, she can hit hard, now, but like that Quicksilver synergy that puts her right back to where she was at the beginning of the game, just being an absolute monster.
Yeah. I agree. That synergy is pretty neat.
Oh, it's
She does a
incredibly
lot
neat.
of she does a lot
I
of
saw
damage.
videos of like a Winter Soldier's Realm of Legends thing, and he went down in like less than 20 hits. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
All just from SP2. That's it.
Uh-huh. So you said you've done all of Act 7. Is there anything else that you have left to complete in game?
The only thing that's really just kind of sitting on my radar, but it's when I say sitting on my radar, I'm kind of just saying it in terms of like it's incomplete, would just be to fully explore the abyss, but I don't want to do that because number one, the first and only time I've ever done it, it really took kind of and luckily I did this when it was January in Nashville. We had a snowstorm, so I had plenty of time to kind of sit on my ass and just do a path, but I don't have the time. I don't have the resources for it. Just for my own accomplishment. Just being able to do it one time, I'm just okay with it. So right now, I'm just waiting for Act 8.1.
Okay. So 8.1, that's gonna come out in a couple weeks. Do you think you're gonna be farming some revives and trading them in for the store?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of make it a point. So one of the things that I do just to kind of, especially with the way the monthly Cavalier and monthly Uncollected quests have been actually offering these really cool bonuses after you complete them. I usually buy the lower tier package, which is like a health pool package. So there's no shards, no nothing. But for 1,000 units, you can get like a wide variety of different, health potions, revives, and energy refills to kind of get you ready for whatever you want to do. So I just try to double up on those because it's just good to have an overflowing inventory of that kind of stuff. And then I'll usually go back into like Act 3.2.6 with the Thanos fight, and I'll just farm there. And then yeah, I'll trade in. I'll do stuff just to kind of make sure they have a healthy amount of inventory. And if all else fails, if I'm lacking, I'll just take a break, do some more because that content's permanent. It's not going anywhere, so I can jump back whenever I want.
Right. Okay. Um, what about the Grandmaster's Gauntlet? Did you get a chance to try that before it was
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
again?
So I did it again, and oh man, I tell you what, when I did it last year, it was very I hate to say the word intimidating, but I just didn't know what I was doing, and I was definitely and my rewards were really kick ass from last year. I was able to finally get my hands on a 6-star Doctor Doom, and then this time when I did it, I had better counters, I had better champions that were ranked up, so it took me less time, it took me less resources, but it was totally worthwhile because I was actually able to get my hands on a 6-star Hyperion, and I was able to dupe him, which was huge because that's a really fun champion that I love playing with. So that was definitely worthwhile, and the like the exploration rewards definitely helped me get that much closer to being Paragon. And it was like all I needed was just the Eternity of Pain to give my stuff, and then boom, there I was.
Very nice. Okay. Jay, you got one over there?
Yeah, I was gonna build off of Act 8.1. Are you excited for Cytalis boss fight?
Yeah, you know what? I have seen some footage of it. It looks like it's going to be a giant pain in the ass, but where there's a will, there's a way, and I believe there's going to be some sort of a counter in there. There's going to be some sort of a champion or two that can really sort of take advantage of whatever she's going to do. And um, my philosophy with that kind of stuff is I'm going to let the pros go ahead. I'm going to let them put out their guides, their tips, their tricks, and then I'm going to do my best to try to replicate that without sucking.
Hey, well, I heard it was actually kind of fun based on Superior King. So,
Oh, I thought Superior King was an awesome boss fight. That was awesome.
awesome. Then you should love Cytalis fight.
Yeah, if it's anything creative like how the Superior King fight was, I'm all for it. And I mean, it just like it is funny too because I finished when I got done doing the Grand Master back when did I get done with Act 6? I want to say it was like maybe March or something like that. But I had way more the Grand Master fight felt like a chore. But the Superior King fight, I was like, this is fun. This is actually like I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah. Okay. So you think you're ready for Cytalis? Is that's her name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I
Okay.
gotta, I mean, we'll see when everything goes live. But I
Yeah.
got a pretty good roster of champions and stuff like that. And for getting to Paragon, I ranked up Apocalypse, Nick Fury, and Angela to rank 4. So I think those would be 3 real big, heavy hitters and good utility type
Mm-hmm.
champions and stuff like that. But
Okay.
hopefully, I don't get any lagging issues. Hopefully, my inputs don't drop, and if those hold true, then I think I'll be all right.
Very nice. Who would you be looking forward to taking to rank 5?
Oh, I mean, probably Fury. I mean, he's just too good of a champion to not, ignore. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Nick Fury. He's
Yeah,
the ultimate skill, right?
pretty much. But also just what he does.
All them
Especially once he gets into
bleeds.
that second phase. Yeah, exactly. And the second phase is just it can just melt opponents and stuff like that. And also like with the new featured crystals that have come out, I've only opened a few of those, and two of my pulls were, I was able to do Black Panther OG, and I actually really like him. I have kind of like a soft spot for him as an OG champion. I duped Dormammu, which was kind of like, Dormammu was okay. But then I finally got my hands on a Hulkling, and boy, is he a fun champion to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. Hulkling is. I definitely got him in the first within the first couple of days of the new featured, and
Oh, cool.
he's a beast.
And I don't have
Yeah,
him ranked up or have him at all.
yeah, I got him sitting at rank 1 right now. But I tell you what, even as a rank 1, he was a very good option for this week's Eternity of Pain.
Yeah, I
So
have him at rank 2 unduped, and he's putting in some work.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. I was most excited like when they had kind of announced the narrative roadmap last year. I was like, I'm most excited for Hulkling Wiccan out of all the characters. So
yeah.
that's cool.
I got super excited for and I couldn't believe I got it. I got him. What was the most recent thing we just did? It was the last little side event there.
Gallon goes to the battle room, like
Yeah,
yeah, and from those like bonus shards, I got Scorpion as a 6-star champion. And I was like, wow, like this is really cool. And he's like, a very kick-ass champion. Then the other day, just from beating all of Cavalier Monthly, I was like, let me just kind of pop open a 6-star shard, and then I was able to dupe my 6-star Scorpion. And holy crap, is he like an amazing science champion?
okay, yeah.
Just really cool.
Oh yeah, I got a 5-star from those the crystal as well. And yeah, I was like,
nice.
He's one of the characters I really wanted out of my list.
Yeah, especially with the synergy with Agent Venom and
Oh, yeah.
Iceman. Oh my God, it's insane.
Okay, yeah, Scorpion. I'm still looking for Scorpion.
Yeah, if you get a chance to get Scorpion, man, he will definitely become like your favorite science champion, just because not only can he be like immune to certain things via the pre-fight, but the petrify, he can hit hard after that special 3. He's just a monster.
Yeah, I need him for the stealth suit Spider-Man synergy.
Oh, absolutely.
No power. You get no power. I will
None.
slap the shit out of you.
Yep, exactly.
So, is there any champs that you're looking forward to with the rest of the year coming up?
Any champs? I mean, I'm curious to see kind of like where certain buffs go. In terms of like champion acquisition right now, I'm not really kind of trying to get anybody new. If anything, I'd like to get a couple of dupes for certain champions that I have as 6-stars. But I really enjoyed the Storm buff this year. The Juggernaut buff has been one of my favorite buffs this year because I actually took Juggernaut to rank 2. I was that excited about his new play style.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
So I'm curious to see I think they said Rocket Raccoon is up for something. Yep. And then apparently I heard that they're trying to do one for Black Panther Civil War. And if that comes to be, that would be really cool because, just to honor the late, great Chadwick Boseman there.
Absolutely. We announced it on the podcast.
Yeah. If they could do that, if they can just really work out a cool, kit for that champion, put him at the end of the year, kind of build it up like Daredevil's Hell's Kitchen, but make it a lot better. That would be the cherry on top.
Yeah. In December's is to be determined, so there is an open spot. Like they haven't announced December's, so that would be a good point.
Did they announce what's it called? November yet?
So November is Rocket, and then obviously no buff in October.
So there's no one next month.
No one next month. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a buff break.
Yeah, it's kind of funny too because this whole year was, the last 2 years were very buff heavy and tweaking and this and that. So I can see how kind of they wanted to maybe take this year to sort of pump the brakes and maybe look at the roster as a whole and then pick and choose. Whichever champion or champions felt like they could use a little bit of a tweak or a full on overhaul.
Yeah, I'm glad they're doing it though. I'm glad they're still buffing champions, older champions that
Mm-hmm.
need it.
Right. I mean, if oh man, if I was, I mean, besides if it were to be the Black Panther Civil War at December, that would be awesome. But I would love to see somebody, a little bit more deserving, like maybe a Captain America OG. Maybe they do something with Iron Man or something. I don't know. Just kind of giving some love to like some of the original champions that were there, just to kind of make them a little bit more relevant within the game.
Maybe a little Spider-Man classic.
Hey, you know what? If that's there, sign
Yeah,
me up.
there you go.
Sign me right up.
Should have picture your tattoo.
Well, actually, yeah, you know what's funny? There, oh my god, I was in a coffee shop, and some little kid. So I was wearing a sleeveless shirt because I got done working out, and some kid saw my tattoo and he thought I was bleeding. So,
Oh,
so yeah,
that's
so
hilarious.
skin tear. So when he saw it, he was like kind of like telling his mom he's like, I think that guy's bleeding, and obviously I wasn't, but she like came over to me. She's like, hey, would you mind just telling my son that you're not hurt? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So I just go over and I show him the tattoo, and he was like, is that Spider-Man? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, wow, where'd you get it? And me just being me, I'm like, well, he came to a show and we hung out for a little bit and we decided to get matching tattoos. So,
Nice.
but it was cute though. It was just kind of like just so like naive that the kid thought that I was bleeding and I wasn't, so.
All right. So what else you got over there, Jay?
Maximus Savage wants me to ask you which axe is your favorite.
Man, out of all of them, I would have to say probably Act 7, only because
Oh, sorry. I think he's saying axe, like my name, J Axe.
But I think he's saying guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
Guitar. Okay. Well, man, I tell you what, I own a Sur custom, so it's the spelling is SUHR. They're very amazing. John Sur makes incredible instruments. These things play like a race car, man. Like as soon as you put your hands on them, your fingers just want to go a million miles an hour. But they're built comfortably. It's one of the best guitars I've ever purchased. And the cool thing is that it has a little switch in the body where if I press it, it diverts all the power to my bridge pickup, so it can kind of give like a little bit of a bump for soloing and stuff like that. Or if you just want to like kind of punch through the mix a little bit harder, like on a certain rhythm section or something like that. But yeah, that's 10 out of 10 right there.
Okay.
That's awesome.
A lot of fun.
So, you got another one over there, Jay?
Well, I was gonna start out is kind of. Do you want to chat about your show if anyone hasn't? Kind of, what's it all about? I was gonna ask this at the beginning, but it.
Yeah, no. Okay, so just to kind of give a point of reference, so the band is called Rammstein, and these guys were real popular in the States. They had a song called Du Hast. It came out in around, I think it was 1997. So you can look it up. I think once a lot of people hear it, they'll be like, oh yeah, that song. But I've been out with these guys since April, and what we've been doing is massive stadium tours. Like that's all we're doing. So we have this really big stage, a really big set. It looks kind of like it looks like Gotham City, but it's not. But these guys are all about a big production, loud sounds, really heavy guitar riffs, pyro on pyro. They have one of the largest pyro rigs ever. I get a flamethrower shot over my head every night. We do confetti, we do concussion blasts and stuff like that. So it's definitely a spectacle. And then we took the show from Europe, and I was over there for 110 days. Now we're doing it here in the States.
Nice.
And it's really neat, man. And the funny thing is, like, they sing all in German. There's no English lyrics. So, and it kind of works for them because it's really like a big kind of like defining quality of their sound. But they do a lot of really cool, like, especially riff wise, they write a lot of really cool things. And the shows are just like, it's definitely like one for the senses. Like I took my parents to a show last weekend, and I couldn't believe that they survived it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Um, I think he was talking about your podcast.
I
Oh.
honestly both.
Oh.
It's really what it was.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like. Okay. So like with the show, like, you like what specifically would you like me to elaborate on?
No, I was just saying, like, for new listeners, what's it all about?
Oh, okay. So basically, with my show, I am pretty much doing I don't want to say the antithesis of what the heavy hitters and what the pros do, but all I provide with my show is a show for the average Joes, for the people that just want to have a good time playing the game. I kind of just try to give out some tips, some helpful hints for people who are new to the game, but also sometimes I'll comment on things that are happening, like certain changes, certain champion buffs, et cetera. Or I'll just come up with something that is kind of like a really fun way of looking at the game. And every now and then I'll bring out somebody to kind of have an interview with. But it's kind of like it's just like a show. And my episodes are all like at least 10 minutes long. There's a few that go longer than that, only if I have something really kind of like, deep and poignant to talk about. But for the most part, I like to cut right to the chase. I make short scripts. I just want to, touch on the points to kind of help players out. And it's been really cool. I've actually had a lot of people that have actually reached out and have been like, hey man, like thanks for the heads up on this, and thanks for the tips on that, and thanks for helping me kind of like with this rank up process and not spending a lot of money, A, B, and C kind of thing. So it's cool that actual people are tuning in, and also, I'm getting the feedback about, how to help them out, because I grew up in the time of like, if you wanted a guide for a game, you had to go to, Babbage's or GameStop or whatever it was, buy a physical print copy of it,
I have
bring
all
it
mine.
back to your house, thumb through it, and do it that way. And then if somebody in your class was playing the same game, you guys would trade secrets and stuff like that. Now with the way the internet works and YouTube and everything, you can go there, it's instantaneous. So I just kind of am borrowing from my own childhood of gaming to kind of help out players who are in need of helping.
All right.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like it's almost like a daily dose of MCOC. Like I really like it. And you can. It's so short, which is so good because I'll go to YouTube stats and people only watch like 10 minutes. So having it 10 to like 20 minutes, I think, is such a good intake of information. I love it.
Yeah, and the way that I kind of sort of came about that was I would watch guitar lessons on YouTube, and I still do, or just interviews and stuff like that. And every time I would see something that was like 45 minutes to an hour or just longer, or whatever, I'm just kind of like, man, I don't really have enough time I just don't want to sit around and listen to this thing or do this thing for 45 minutes, you know what I mean? But then if I saw lessons that were 13 minutes or interviews that were 10, whatever kind of stuff, I was more inclined to listen to those, because I felt like it was a good quality message and a good quality lesson in a good amount of time. So I kind of borrowed that formula to kind of translate into my show.
Yeah. Okay. You definitely bring out a lot of cool takes to playing MCOC. Um, I would say like the most one I'd say the most the most recent episode I listened to was the what is it? The how to spend it, save your money in the battle realm, or spending in the battle
Yeah.
realm. Yeah,
Battle Realm on a budget. Yeah.
the battle realm on a budget. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
you got some really good takes there about grinding arena, spending on you don't not really spending on units, but buying like the $5 daily card and stuff like that, just to get a lot of units quick.
Yeah, and that was just kind of like, I mean, I hate to say it was kind of from my own trial and error, if you will, but that, like, when I started playing the game, none of that stuff was ever available. So if you wanted to get units, you had to get them through questing, through arenas, and then hopefully, if you spin a couple of arena crystals and they pop up with some units, great. But then as the game matured, as it evolved, the subscription packages became a thing, and getting units was kind of like a lot easier now, and this and that. And I always look at like things as, you know I would say investments and stuff like that too. And that was kind of one of the things I also touched upon in an earlier episode about like investment type champions, where you know a champion that like, okay, you want to rank up this champion, you want to awaken them. Well, there's like, it's not as simple as like a 1, 2, 3 process. You're gonna have to find a lot of things to make he or she a very viable option. And I kind of took the same approach with like, the battle room on a budget, because at the time I was looking at it in terms of, hey, I don't really have, a lot of income due to my, career being very much, at a standstill. So, and I felt like a lot of people were in the same boat as well. So if they were playing and if they were like, oh man, I wish I was able to, acquire more of this and that. Well, I just kind of took a stand and said, hey, look, I'm going to show you all a way to kind of make it easier on your artificial and real currency to still play the game, but also get the most out of it in terms of like, hey, I'm able to still get units like crazy. And also I can, buy these crystals in the game to get champions and et cetera, et cetera. So it was just kind of like, I would say I was trying to do a parallel with the state of things in my own life and also in the world at the same time, and bring it to the actual contest.
Yeah. Okay. You got another one over there, Jay?
I was gonna ask. I just missed it. I was gonna ask. All right. Okay. Well, I skipped me. But if there's one character you'd add to the game, who would it be?
Oh, there's a Bullseye.
Oh, okay.
So I got my wish list. One of my wish list guys in Craven, so that was cool. But I'm waiting for Bullseye.
So you voted for Quicksilver, but not for Bullseye.
Well, I mean, obviously when Bullseye got eliminated, I just kind of I went with Quicksilver. But I've always wanted Bullseye simply for the fact that like if you've read any of the Daredevil comics, that he and Daredevil just are like, man, it's almost like kind of like this little Batman Joker thing where they just they kind of know each other, but at the same time they just are always going at each other's throats. And
right.
Bullseye is just a son of a bitch. And I think if he was in the game, he could bring a really cool aspect of like, maybe he would have like a sig ability where he'd be able to kind of like, suppress not only like ability, but he would be also like, to inflict some bleed, some other kind of stuff that would be like, some really good critical damage and all this kind of stuff, because he is about pinpoint accuracy and stuff like that. Like you're looking at, when they did with Hawkeye, where he was able to kind of slow things down with his arrow strikes. So you could probably bring the same thing to somebody like Bullseye, but maybe just make him like Hawkeye on steroids.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've talked about it a lot on the podcast. People that want him, and like so. There's so many cool things, and we literally had Legacy last week, and he was talking about Bullseye. So we want him.
I mean, hopefully he's introduced sooner than later. But I think if he was to make his appearance into the contest, he could definitely be a very fun champion, not only for just play style reasons, but also for synergy reasons, especially making like OG Daredevil kind of a little bit more powerful. Maybe some stuff with Elektra, with Kingpin. With Daredevil's Hell's Kitchen kind of stuff, with Punisher. I think he would just be a really cool champion.
Yeah, and I don't know if it would be that there's a Black ISO Mafia member that's coming to the game next year.
Right.
He could fit that. Like that is something to, because Kingpin's on it, Mr. Negative's on it, both the Osborns are on it. So it's kind of interesting that he could fit that.
I think it'd be a great fit. And guess what? If that comes to be, we called it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Who are some champions that you would like to see buffed?
Champions that I would like to see buffed. I'll try to go per class with this. I won't try to give much of an explanation. I'll just try to like go down my little like. I kind of wrote this down on my laptop, but I don't have it out right now. But definitely out of the science class, either Spider-Man Classic or Captain America OG. I'd like to see the OG Daredevil maybe get a buff, or maybe Moon Knight or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the mutant class, I don't really want to see any buffs out of that, because here's the thing. Well, it's already overpowered enough, especially if you have Apocalypse, you can make anybody a horseman. So it's, it's pretty much game over. But out of the class, maybe like OG Iron Man or Iron Patriot or something like that. And then out of the Mystic class, maybe, oh boy, I would say, well, I was one that kind of happened, and that was Thor Jane Foster. So that already had happened, but I don't really use Thor Jane Foster enough, so I don't really have a total opinion on her buff. But Juggernaut's buff was like, I've been Juggernaut for a long time, and that finally happened, which was awesome. And then out of the Cosmic class, Groot.
Yeah. Health
Yeah.
that could, and I was thinking too. December is the holiday Guardian special, so if they were gonna do a Groot, it would definitely be that month.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I've always wondered, like, if we were as a community to get the Groot buff, like, would it be like a Magneto thing where it's like a total overhaul and he just becomes like insanely overpowered, or would it be just kind of like one of those things where it's like, hey, we're gonna, just upgrade him a little bit, but he will still he won't be like one of the worst champions in the game kind of thing. So I'm very curious to see if they do ever go that route. Like, would it be such a radical change, or would it be just more kind of like, let's just make him a little stronger, but not get too crazy with him?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've seen with Juggernaut and Ant-Man and Rocket. They're all technically all titled the same type of buff. So I think any type of buff after that is kind of going to be in the same area. So I think that's kind of something close you can kind of expect.
Yeah, and the thing about the Juggernaut buff, which I keep kind of going back to, what I like about it is the fact that the play style now, it really reflects how he is in the comics, which is
Finally.
Unstoppable. He's always charging. He's always doing damage. Where I felt like before, it's just kind of like, he can get really annoying when he goes, into the unstoppable mode. But the fact now that his damage output is coinciding with his unstoppable buffs, it just makes him so much more fun. And then the thing too is, if you have him awakened, it doesn't really kind of hurt anything, but the fact that he can also nullify some buffs now and put stagger on, that's just really cool,
Yeah. So what do you think about yeah, we already talked about Ant-Man. Shit. Never mind.
Alright, I got one. So obviously you're a Spider-Man fan, and next month we actually have a Spider-Man event, the Spider-Verse Get-In event with, I think, Moreland and hopefully a new Spider-Man character. Is kind of any character you're kind of excited to be, because I think it's gonna be a Mystic Spider-Man finally, but there are so many Spider characters.
I know. I mean, Hobgoblin could be, an option or like that.
Well, actually, Hobgoblin cannot be an option because he lost the vote this year.
That's right. Okay, so I'm just kind of digging into
Yeah, I got you. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just digging into Spider-Man villains that I kind of grew up, watching and all this kind of stuff. I'd love to see Chameleon. Ooh. That would be really cool. Yeah. That would be I feel like that would be a hard character to kind of really kind of create in the game. I'm not sure what they would do, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. If Morbius comes in, that'd be really cool too. But I feel just the event in general, I'm excited for it, because whenever I see Spider-Verse stuff, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. You mentioned Chameleon, which was in the Kraven, the last motion comic we got. Crazy, it's been so long since then. But Chameleon's face was on Kraven's trophy wall, so little Easter egg. I mean, there were so many Spider-Verse characters in there, Spider-Verse villains like Sandman, Hydra Man, the Spider Slayer. Who else do we not have in the game? Shocker. There could go so many options. So I think it will be Moreland, the inheritor that hunts down the Spider-Man.
Right.
And in Spider Heroes, you have Superior Spider-Man, which is, I was talking to my brother about. He would want to see him. Where Doc Ock takes over Peter's body and has the Iron Spider arms. I know. It's so cool.
He does a better job of being Spider-Man than Spider-Man.
Yeah, or if they did somehow Iron Spider, when during when he had when Tony Stark gave him a new suit and everything with the arms and whatnot in the comics, that would be really cool too. I mean, there's so many, and that's kind of the cool thing about the game, is that the source material, it really opens up a lot of doors for whatever you want to see. But when you were saying Hydra Man and Sandman, I'm thinking to myself, oh, those would be two really cool champions to have. But like from a developer standpoint, I wonder how much of a pain it would be to try to make those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what Gabe mentioned him last year on the podcast. We were talking about him like that would be a pain, and he was like, we can do him. We can do it. So he was like, no sweat. Said the same thing with Quicksilver too.
Oh my god, the Quicksilver animations! When I saw that for the first time, I was like, "Holy crap, these are awesome!"
Yeah, 100%.
Special 3, I was like, they did a really good job with that.
They've been bringing a lot of the chair back with Special 3s.
Yeah, that whole chair thing. That's a nice little kind of, I'm glad that he has survived over the many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was originally just a joke by Scott Bradford, who used to work at Kabam, and it's just evolved into this. But none of those are the real chair. Remember?
The first time I saw that, I was like, "What the hell is a chair doing here?"
Yeah, it was just from a random comic, and then the Scott was like, "Oh, it'd be so funny to put this in the game," and Kabam were like, "Yeah, do it," and then they did it, and then it's just evolved into a meme, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's why you never call somebody out on their bullshit, because you never know when they'll actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we've got left? A little bit of MCU stuff. Are you caught up on MCU stuff?
I would say not really. I mean, I tried to watch She-Hulk. I couldn't do it.
Okay.
But then like I did see Doctor Strange when I was in Prague over the summer. I haven't seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet. I know that they announced at the Disney Expo the Thunderbolts, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be very interesting to see. And then what else? Yeah, pretty much CU wise, like that's pretty much where I am right now.
Nice. Thor's on Disney Plus, so if you have a good time to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Well, I'm actually going to Disneyland on Wednesday, so I think I'm gonna sneak over to Avengers Campus and kind of get my fill over there before I do any of that stuff.
Okay.
It's our little work trip that we're going on.
Very nice.
Nice, yeah. Jane, they just got Jane as I've never been to Avengers Campus, but they actually have like people they hire that wear the costumes, and Jane literally just got added to their place.
Oh, that's awesome. My cousin took her son there, and her son like lost his mind. You couldn't believe how like he was like, "Oh my god, it's all here."
Yeah,
and then
I gotta get out there.
They did like it's they built like a robot of Spider-Man that can actually swing.
Oh yeah,
and it's oh my god, it's amazing.
Flings itself over the campus. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's insane. Like I saw them doing it on the Imagineering documentary. I'm like, are they building like a Spider-Man robot that can fling and swing? I gotta see this thing.
Absolutely. I gotta see it in person now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see it in person.
Yeah, someone made a CGI video of it like failing, and it just trended over the internet. It was insane. Like when they first announced it.
Oh my god.
It was so funny.
Well, hopefully it doesn't fail for real.
No, it can't.
That'd be such a buzzkill.
Oh no, what happened to Spider-Man? He's having a web block again.
Ugh. Did I ever tell you guys a long time ago? Like this is a very weird part of my life. I was actually down at Islands of Adventure, and I was doing a character audition, and I offered. I was like, "Hey, what are the chances that I could play the role of Spider-Man?" And they're like, "Hey, listen, you got a really good personality for it, but you're too short."
Oh, really?
Yeah, you had to be like 5'10" or something like that, and I'm 5'6". Yeah.
Nah, that's ridiculous. Come on,
What?
Spider-Man is not Wolverine short, but he is not 5'10".
Right. Well, but then the last time I was I was at Islands of Adventure. This is the night that I saw Endgame. The Spider-Man character walked by me, and I was looking up at him. I'm like, yeah, you're sitting about 5'11", maybe 6 foot. But that could have been my life. But you know what? There was other.
Yeah.
We're never the better. That's funny.
But that was a weird time in my life, and I'm glad that I eventually got my shit together.
Very nice. Um, yeah. What else you got over there, Jay?
Well, since we're on topic of a little bit of the MCU, we have they announced they showed the trailer for Werewolf by Night as well as Secret Invasion, and we also have Wakanda Forever next not next month, the month after next month, but we have the Werewolf by Night next month. So you're
So
looking
I've
forward to
only
those?
seen I've seen two out of the three trailers. I haven't seen the werewolf trailer, but
Okay.
Secret Invasion I saw, so it's cool to see Nick Fury come back. I'm curious to see how that whole story goes. And as for this, for the Wakanda Forever thing, I'm just really curious to see what they're going to do for life after Chadwick Boseman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like he was a. I mean, I couldn't believe that the guy was sick the whole time, and he was out there
Yeah.
crushing that role. And it's just, and it was funny. My coworker and I were talking about that tonight, and we were like, you know, I remember where I was when I heard the news, and I was just like surprised. I'm like, really? He had cancer? Like, had no idea about that. And then it just I had to give him respect because he was still out there making movies, and he looked really I thought he was healthy the whole time, and fortunately he wasn't, which was really sad. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do, without him in this movie. I'm curious to see how they're gonna do Namor, and just kind of where it's gonna take the MCU from here.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I thought the same thing when they announced when they announced his death. I was like, oh my goodness! Like I had just finished watching his most recent stuff at that point. I'm like, I never would have guessed in a million years.
Well, it was interesting too because when the news broke, I got several text messages from people. They're like, "Dude, did you just hear the news?" And I go, "Did you just read the same thing that I just read?" And we were all kind of like, "Really? Like, he passed away? Oh my god, that's awful."
Yeah, it's it's pretty terrible. But I
Yeah.
mean, long live the king forever. You know.
Oh yeah. I mean, I mean, oh my god, when he was in, when he made his debut in Civil War, I was like, "Yo, this is one bad dude."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
Like this dude came to play. He is not messing around, and I thought it was a very good portrayal of Black Panther. And it was kind of like he wasn't Black Panther yet, because if you see the standalone movie, he's still sort of like finding his way, if you will. But I just thought it was just like the suit looked awesome. He was bringing the heat the whole time. I just thought his character was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think they handled well. I really love the trailer, man. It gave me chills.
Oh, the trailer! I mean, like I said, when I saw the trailer for the first time, I was like, "Wow, this is going to be pretty emotional for a lot of people."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody's dealing with the fallout of the snap and Endgame, and
Right.
trying to turn over a new leaf. So
Yeah, exactly. And it's oh man, it's kind of funny too. I feel like we as a people went through our own sort of snap with 2020. You know what I mean? Like we couldn't see anybody. We're all in quarantine. I'm like, oh my god, like it's weird how that happened right after this movie.
yeah.
But things are trending upward. People I know are back to work and stuff like that. We're all getting back to living our lives, which is a great thing.
Absolutely, yeah, man. I've been working steadily. I haven't stopped working, honestly.
Good.
it's it's crazy.
I just go
Yeah.
to art school full time, so I'm just working my portfolio constantly.
Where's that school?
It's out in Central Texas. So I just go to a private university.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was chatting with a coworker of mine and saying that they got to invent cloning technology because if I was able to clone myself, I would have been on like several different shows this summer.
Oh yikes.
No, it's a good thing.
This
You
is
know what I
really-
mean?
But that'd be so
Yeah.
weird if that actually was a thing. Like, how do you like? What do you, if you're like you got your clone? They're like filling you in on what happened. It's like, oh man, maybe I wish I would have been there or something like that. It's so weird. I've always thought about
Well,
that too.
here's what I said. I said if it could be the technology where if it was like multiple man, where you can send yourself,
Yes.
but then you absorb
Mhm.
whatever memories, whatever happened. It's like a collective pool. So when your clone comes back, it's like, okay, now I know how to whittle wood. I'm all good.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh man, I wish Turkey
Become
was here. Boltman's one of his favorite characters, and there were some weird stories from the comics. It's always funny to see what shenanigans his clones like survive too if he doesn't absorb them. They'll survive for
Right.
years, like decades even. It's pretty funny.
They have kids. His clones have kids. And everything
Yeah,
else.
it's
nuts.
so
Oh.
the way they did it is so funny.
Yeah. it's
In
pretty
the
crazy.
in the Messiah complex, it's an
Oh.
X-Men comic and an
Mhm.
X-Men story. His character is actually really pivotal in that story.
Yeah, and today that's still is still a part of his character too. I think there's even like
Yeah.
a mystery about one of the clones. What happened to them?
Oh God, oof, that's like a whodunit right there.
Oh yeah, it's who's the original one? That's what it is.
Oh, that's like Christopher Nolan Inception stuff on a whole new level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say the Werewolf by Night trailer. You'll actually recognize two characters from the game. Well, maybe one.
Okay,
One of
cool.
them you absolutely will. The second one might be debatable since it's black and white.
All right, so I'm gonna take a crapshoot at which ones I think it is. I'm gonna go with Elsa Bloodstone.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Boom, yeah.
That's the one you might not recognize
Oh, really?
because it's black and white, and the actor doesn't look like she has red hair, so you wouldn't know off
Oh.
first hand. And plus, it doesn't seem like I don't know. It was her like yeah. I don't want to spoil the trailer, but it didn't really feel like Elsa Bloodstone. I'll have to watch the special to see.
Okay, I'll have to. I gotta check it out then.
Yeah, but her and her grandfather. I don't know the descendants of the. Someone
It's
would
like
be
the
mad.
Bloodstone.
Yeah. Ulysses is
Okay.
also in there. You'll know him if you've read her comics.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll have to take a gander at it.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm really excited for it. I hope it's not a comedy. I really hope it's like super dark, horror. I'd love to see it.
Scary. Yeah, I want to see.
Yeah,
scary.
that would be nice. Yeah, just like a total, just like a yeah, exactly, just real dark, real moody, real brooding kind of thing. That'd be awesome.
Heck yeah. You got anything else, Jay?
Well, so we talked about one. The other thing that's coming is relics eventually. So is there kind of anything you're
Relics.
expecting with relics or wanting with relics?
Boy, I just hope whatever they do, I hope it works out because there's been a lot of scrutiny going on with Battlegrounds ever since it got released after all the beta testing this summer, and relics has kind of been one of those things where I'm not a big Game of Thrones guy, but from people who have said to me, it's like, oh, the dragons are coming, they're coming, and it's like the same thing with the relics. It's like, oh, they'll be here, they're coming, they're this and that. It's like, well, whenever they arrive, I hope that they are well worth the wait, and I hope that they whatever they can do, I hope that it really helps out a lot of players, and I hope that the final product looks good.
Hey,
Yeah.
Daenerys could not conquer Westeros without the dragons, so I'm hoping the same thing is with contest that we get relics in every episode.
I've never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones. The only reason I know that reference is because I was watching the South Park Black Friday, and Butters is talking to what's his name, who wrote the book,
George R. Martin.
Yeah. He's like telling me, he's like, no, I want to see the dragons. I've been waiting for these dragons and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, that's the only way I know about it.
Oh, that's funny. I really like the show. I'm watching the prequel show, the House of the Dragon. It's really fun. I love the dragons. They're super cool. They have such a presence on screen. I love it.
Oh, I bet. I mean, somebody told one person one time, like, I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones, and I think I almost gave them a mild heart attack. They were like, they're like, oh my, how did you
miss
never
this?
watch that show? I'm like, I just didn't.
Nah, it's all good. I'm never like, oh, you should watch this, because I was like, it is what it is. But I love
Yeah,
it.
I mean, but South Park did a really funny job of making fun of that show, and I couldn't help but laugh with them guys.
Absolutely. People have their own preferences for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm definitely more of like a comedy person.
Yeah.
I like It's Always Sunny, South Park, stuff like that.
Oh man, so it's funny you mentioned Always Sunny. So we were staying in Philadelphia. We had a show there, but we were staying across the street from the fountain. It's in the episode where Dennis is like, he's talking about his erotic life in a novel.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of it and I sent it to some of my coworkers and I go, hey, this is the fountain from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's from this scene. It's where Frank tells Matt that he's been pissing in this fountain every day for 50 years. And Charlie's stealing Dee's money like pay for spies for the waitress and stuff like that. It was just, oh my god.
Yeah, that's a good episode.
Oh, it's hysterical. And then I had to watch it
Somebody
just for
jumps into somebody jumps into the fountain as Frank's telling him that he peed in it.
Oh, I think it was Charlie or D just trying to get the money out of it.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, that shows an absolute riot.
Yes, I agree. Uh, so do you have anything you want to plug before the end of the show?
I mean, for people who haven't tuned into the show, you can find it on Apple Music, on Spotify. It's MCOC and me. It's a picture of me holding a Captain America shield with Captain America when I was down at Islands of Adventure at Universal Studios. But I think I have about 200 plus episodes. But everything is, it's real easy listening and stuff like that. A couple episodes are very lighthearted. Some kind of get a little bit, deep with certain things just because I was kind of feeling them in the moment and stuff like that. But, support the channel, support people like, you guys who are doing your own thing as well. And, my big thing is with the game, there's always going to be, some ebb and flow, some things you're going to like, some things you're not going to like. Play the game at your own speed. Just try to enjoy it. Have a good time doing it. And if you could somehow, find a creative outlet, whether it's like a YouTube channel or a Twitter blog or a page or something like that, that kind of gives you a way to kind of visualize the game better, get better and also help out other players, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we try to do here.
Yeah, and that's why I really like following you guys, and I appreciate having me on because it's good to talk with guys who are like-minded and we're all just trying to do the same thing. We're just guys trying to have a good time and we're just playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
absolutely.
Oh, I forgot I was going to ask the CCP. That's what it was.
Okay.
That's what I was blanking on earlier. It was have you applied to the CCP? And they're always looking for podcast people. Like when we had Thel on, he was like, I want to see more MCOC podcasts.
I have actually not heard about that, so you're gonna have to fill me in.
Basically, when we had him on the show, we were talking about because he's not at Kabam anymore, but when he used to run the CCP, he was like, I want to see more podcasts in there because. At the time, it was only me, Rich, and a couple
people from the MCOC.
Yeah, in the MCOC podcast. So he was like, I want to see more podcasts in the CCP, and that's what he was kind of, yeah. I don't know.
Cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know if my podcast would be up his alley because one of the things that I always kind of put as a disclaimer on my show is that I really kind of shoot things in a very pragmatic, common sense sort of way. So. That may or may not be kind of off-putting for some people. It's just my personality. I'm very just the facts. I kind of I like to be not reactive with certain things. So, I mean, that may or may not work, but
I don't think so. Don't worry. No one's censored. I mean, unless you're constantly hating on the game or you're constantly harassing people.
No. I only hate every quarter.
But you'd absolutely be fine.
No, but if anything, I just try to provide a because there's so many people out there that have a really big platform, Karate Mike, KT1, Rich the Man, Seaton, Katie Candy when she was doing her thing and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't really have the kind of platform that they have. So anything that I kind of say, I just try to say it more in terms of hey, here's the average Joe. Here's how I feel about it, and about whatever's going on. If you feel the same way. Cool. If you don't, cool. No big deal. We can both exist.
Exactly. Heck yeah. We're all just trying to spend our units on revives here for Eternity of Pain.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny too, especially with I think my biggest pain in the ass Eternity of Pain fight so far was the MODOK fight because that was just I can't stand that son of a bitch. He's just he's annoying, but the objectives weren't too bad. Craven wasn't that bad last week, but I felt like this week, I only used 2 champions, Stark Spider-Man and Hulkling, and it was easy, super easy.
Okay. See, with the MODOK fight, that was the only fight I really had a decent time with because I used Black Widow, not Clairvoyant, but Deadly Origins.
Oh, see, I didn't use her. In hindsight, I should have used her, but my problem. And this is my problem is that I don't take my own advice that I give out in the game is I should just sit back, see who's good, see who's not, and then go from there.
Right. Yep. So yeah, I think that should about wrap it up then, huh, Jay?
Awesome.
Yes, yeah, all my notes.
All right, cool. I want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out with us live, and thanks to Jay for streaming us live on YouTube and Twitch, and thanks again to Zac Rossi for coming out and hanging out with us on the show.
Hey guys, it was a blast like always. Thank you for having me on again. This is great. I hope we don't do it. With a 2 year stint in between.
Yeah, right. I heard that. All right.